Happy hump day. Hope everyone week has been fantastic. Alright. I know mine has been. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. There's a lot going on, but you know what? I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm gonna say that as horrible as the recent events have been, I'm an optimist. And in the end, I will always be motivated to do better. So, hope everybody's bellies are full, you're well hydrated, and hope you got people in your life to talk to. And what's the old saying? Don't go to bed angry. Some of y'all stubborn motherfuckers aren't gonna understand what that means. But there's a lot of beauty and patience and grace to be had, so you either got it or you need to find it. Alright. Let's go. I think, and like I said last episode, I definitely will be reading off saved stories because I don't like the Russian roulette, just going in and seeing what's what. I like to read the stories that I thought that, were the most interesting when I read them and piqued my interest. And I definitely should start following some more threads. But yeah, from here on out, it's going to be a little more curated, a little less random, but not necessarily categorized as it's been in the past. All right. This is in the subreddit Vent. It's been 3 months since my brother passed away. Grieving him has been hard enough, but it's been made even harder by the way things have been handled since his death, especially by his wife. To this day, no one on our side of the family, his parents, his siblings, his aunts and uncles, was told where his remains were laid to rest. There was no conversation, no notice, no acknowledgement, just silence. We knew he had been cremated, and we assumed she would eventually tell us when or where he was being buried. That never happened. Today, we found his burial site completely by accident. We were stunned. There it was, his name, the dates, everything, on a small marker we didn't know existed, in a place none of us were told about. No one from our family was there when it happened. We had no opportunity to be present, to say a few words, to witness the moment. We were shut out of that part of the grieving process completely. In the beginning, we tried to give her grace. Oops. We assumed she was lashing out in grief and needed space, as she explicitly requested. But over time, it's become painfully clear that this wasn't just about grief. Her actions have been consistently vindictive and frankly cruel. Excluding us from this part of my brother's life and death feels deliberate. It's still unclear whether her side of the family was informed or involved. Maybe they knew, maybe they didn't. But the fact remains. We were not given the chance to say goodbye, not in the way we needed to. I'm angry and heartbroken, and I don't want this to stay invisible. This kind of exclusion adds an extra layer of pain to an already devastating loss. My brother meant the world to so many people, and keeping his final resting place a secret from his own family is not just inconsiderate, it's cruel. Now that we've found his grave, we at least have somewhere to go, a place to sit with our memories, reflect, and feel close to him. But the way we had to discover it, the secrecy, the lack of respect, it still hurts. If you've been through something similar, I'd be grateful to hear how you coped. And the title of this one was "We Found My Brother's Burial Site by Accident Because His Wife Never Told Us Where He Was Laid to Rest." Yeah, that's bonkers. That's weird, selfish, cruel. Why would you ever do that? Possibly because you're the killer. I mean, probably not, but it's always possible. That is so strange, though. I don't understand why anybody would ever act that way. I guess one possibility is somebody, in one aspect could be so full of grief, so, for lack of a better word, weak, that they couldn't bring themselves to spit the words out to their significant other's family, that their son and sibling and nephew and whatever was dead. But, like I said, it's pretty weak if you ask me. But, maybe it does sound like she'd maybe isolated him from the family. Obviously, none of them were close with her. She didn't like them, they didn't like her, whatever. But in matters of death, suck it up. Good Lord. The next one is from a much lighter point of view, kind of. It's wedding shaming. Long ago, my mother, sister, brother-in-law, their baby, and I all headed across the Atlantic for my cousin's wedding. We arrived and stayed with uncle and aunt. They were a war zone. They had a fairly open plan downstairs in their Tennessee house, with one central small wall. They'd go in a circular motion around his house, shouting at each other. It was awful, so I'm assuming they're from Europe somewhere. My cousin was marrying young because her fiancé was due to go to Afghanistan. They were part of the Silver Band crew, and she told me they'd never kissed with tongues, even though they'd been a couple for 4 years. Damn. The house was unbearable. When another cousin, S, turned up from Seattle and said, "Shall we go on a road trip for a few days?" Oh, wait, no. They're from Seattle, not Tennessee. That wasn't even close to being Tennessee. That was just whatever. I jumped at the chance. That is another story. We were gone 3 nights and arrived back the afternoon before the wedding. Rehearsal dinner was at a Porky's. Not sure if it was called that. Had a pig in the logo. Americans can put me right, I'm sure. While vegetarian me was in for a surprise. No veggie options. I asked, could I just have a salad? Could see it was used as a garnish. Salad came with also a chunk of pork in it. Think maybe they just put people's scraps on a plate for me. I smiled and bore it all. Didn't want to make a fuss. That night, I made up for not being around to help. I was told had abandoned my aunt when she needed my help. I was told had abandoned my aunt when she needed my help. I don't know. Dad, maybe. My sister, who is usually the help, being a bit busy being a mom, I cut kiwis into star shapes, helped prep wedding food into the night when everyone else was long gone to bed, completed my list of duties, and passed out. In the morning, I was shouted awake. Why was I still asleep? There was lots to do. We're leaving in 10 minutes. I'd maybe slept 4 hours, and as an English person, we usually need a cup of tea to get our brains in gear. No tea, no breakfast. Damn shame. Well, I dressed and brushed teeth, and then it was off to the venue. My uncle, in the midst of a mental breakdown, kept crying on me, and I did my best to help him out and cheer him up. I was early 20s then. We decorated the place to oblivion. OTT, as my mom said. Christmas wedding, so snowflake ornaments on the plastic plants, which somehow made them look less realistic. The maternal grandma had made me some netted things to be attached to every chair. They looked like those netty things you use in the shower to lather up your soap. A loofah. That is what that's called. We placed framed photos of my cousin posing in her dress on every table. I did all this without complaint, and over the day had some nice chats with the bridesmaids. I ate some Japanese crackers, and my aunt shouted at me, told me I should have had breakfast before we left. Whew, those fighting words. At some point, my uncle asked me to run some errands with him. I thought, yeah, I can get some food. No, he wanted me to go to the liquor store and buy a bottle of vodka. It was a dry wedding, and he wanted me to give guests who wanted some booze some vodka in their juice. I had to pay for it, though, as my uncle was a recovering alcoholic. This was not a small bottle either. There didn't seem to be anything to eat in there but gum, so I got some cinnamon gum, and it made my tummy rumble more. Back to the venue, and it looked like a gaudy 80s hell, but okay, their choice. The bridesmaids went to get hair and makeup done. Mother, brother-in-law, and I finished off. Is that like the same as like fucked off? I'm assuming. Anyway. Back to their house to get ready. Food, shower, and a cuppa. It was heaven. I didn't complain at any point. Weddings seem stressful. My uncle is crying at least once an hour. My aunt hates him. They have enough going on. To the wedding, the church looked beautiful. Lanterns leading up to the steps. I go to see the bride and bridesmaids in the side room getting ready. Tell them how beautiful they look. Oh shit. My computer just died. That was quick. All right. I go to see the bride and bridesmaids. Tell them how beautiful they look. Bridesmaid F. Bridesmaid F asks, does my tattoo cover-up look okay? I don't know how to answer because her beautiful sunflower tattoo now looks like a serious rash. I ask if it hurts. She says no, in a sweet way, not in a the fuck has happened way. My cousin comes over to me and condescendingly places her hand on my shoulder. It's time for you to go now. Man, I'd done so much for her, and it was 45 minutes until the wedding was due to start. I'd been being a counselor for her dad, trying to stop her parents brawling. I just felt that she was an entitled madam, and I fucking hated her for bringing me here to be a slave over Christmas when I could be with the rest of my family and pals. I went and sat down and decided I wouldn't soothe her dad anymore. He was crying so hard, welcoming guests without me cheering him up. He was crying so hard, welcoming guests without me cheering him up. I don't totally understand that sentence, but that's all right. Wedding went well. Although my uncle's sobs rebounded off the walls. You may kiss the bride. This was when the couple decided to kiss with tongues for the first time. Saliva glistening down her cheek. It was awful. I looked at my sister and looked away before we laughed. Come the reception, there were far less people than at the church. There was a band, but we weren't allowed to dance because the groom's father was a Baptist minister. My uncle directed people to me for vodka. I spent the night going into the disabled loo with many people. Probably seemed like I was a prostitute. I had the big woolen bag as a handbag that fitted the vodka bottle. My uncle, who hasn't drunk alcohol for 25 years, asks for some vodka. I asked him if he thought this was a good idea. He wanted it, felt a bit stuck, so gave him some. It seemed like instantly he was drunk. Maybe he was dehydrated from all the crying. At some point he fell over and knocked over the table with the groom's cake on. A picture of my cousin lounging sexily what? Fell to the floor. My mum caught the cake with minimal damage. Nice reflexes, Mum. There was so much food and hardly anyone to eat it. I ate my fill. Mischief had found its way into my soul. When I heard the groomsmen say they were going to decorate the car, I went to help. I drew a massive penis, a vulva and obscenities, wrote, "Enjoy losing your virginity. I was horrid. When the car came for the people to get in, there was a gasp from some guests, and mutters about these boys. Sorry, lads. Well, they are still happily married years later. Her parents are divorced and remarried. The groom didn't go to Afghanistan in the end. His teeth were too bad." What? Oh, that's a thing? You can be held off from a war zone if your teeth are too bad? Lord. That's probably why they hadn't French kissed for 4 years. Sounds nasty. Alright, next one we got coming up. Oh man, they must have been backwoods, Tennessee. She ordered a salad and got some pork with it. We got another one from Wedding Shaming coming up. Oh, and the tag on it is a big red tacky. This was one of the many, many weddings I attended in the 2 years following my high school graduation, because yes, I'm from that kind of place. The wedding was in a double-wide trailer that served as a church. The preacher was the bride's father. She was something like the 18th of 19 children. Holy smokes. By 5 or so different women. Not a polygamous religion, but dad got around. Yeah, no shit. Holy smokes, dude. The weddings went as weddings do. That's 19 kids. Oh my god. That's like, shit, that's worse than Nick Cannon. I think he's got 14 or 12 or shit, I don't know, maybe he does have 19. The wedding went as weddings do, until it came time to pronounce the happy couple, man and wife. I now introduce to you Mr. and Mrs. Oh, praise the Lord, son, I done forgot your last name. It was Smith. Afterwards, chairs were shifted and the reception held in the same double-wide trailer. There's no drinking or dancing, because of God. So, wait, what? Another one? I didn't even notice that before. Holy shit, what are these? What did they say? They're a Protestant? First Baptist. First Baptist don't dance? Damn. Oof. There's no drinking or dancing, because of God. So our entertainment is watching the bride unwrap the wedding gifts. 2 stand out. 1, the happy couple had been living with the bride's mother for some time, only recently moving into their own trailer home. Their mail was still being delivered to the mother's home. Upon unwrapping mom's gift, you guessed it, it's their mail. Holy smokes. All right. And 2, the squeals of delight. Them some towels, what say Smith? What the fuck? I know I've read these before, but still. Oh man, and there are so many stories I read on here that it's like, they either got to be made up or AI, some creative writing project. But still, true or not, it's fun. And all the ones I read are supposedly real stories, but you can all decide for yourselves. This one is just in the subreddit stories, and it's gotten the mark of platinum story, which means it's like one of the best stories. I don't know. Anyways, I, 19 female, work at a small cafe with my mom. It's just a cozy place where people come for good coffee, warm food, and a bit of kindness. My mom is the gentlest soul you'll ever meet. The kind person who thanks you even when you mistreat her or apologizes if you bump into her. Yeah, that kind. Chill, Canada. Yesterday, this woman, parentheses, a couple, walks in all designer bag, oversized sunglasses, and condensation, excuse me. She orders a chicken salad, eats 90% of it, I'm not exaggerating, then calls my mom over with an attitude. With the most sour face imaginable, she went, "This food tastes like shit. Absolute garbage. I want to write a complaint." Here we have this thing. It's like an official complaint book businesses must provide by law. My mom, visibly shaken, was trying to explain that she was sorry to hear that and offer her a refund, but the lady kept cutting her off and acting like a bitch and looking around like she wanted an audience, and that's when I stepped in. I said, "Ma'am, if you'd like to write a complaint, I'll gladly bring it to you. But I'm sure you're aware that first you'll need to pay your bill. That's the law." She blinked at me like I just kicked her chihuahua, and she said, and I quote, "You know who I am. I won't pay for this service, I can tell you that." That was a terrible voice. And then enter the husband. He stood up all puffed chest and testosterone and started telling us we better watch ourselves, don't know who we're messing with, and other cliches straight from the entitled Rich Guy Starter Pack. And that was trademarked in the Reddit post for some reason. Entitled Rich Guy Starter Pack is trademarked. What on earth? I'm going to have to Google that. Maybe it's like a Halloween costume or something. My mom was frozen. I was trying to stay calm because at this point I almost shitted myself too, LOL, because this guy was flexing like he wanted a fight. And then, right before I shit myself up, the salvation, one of our regulars, Carlos, stood up. Carlos is a firefighter, drinks his coffee black, wears a calm face, and once carried an injured golden retriever down 3 flights of stairs. The man's basically an action movie character. A golden retriever down 3 flights of stairs. Couldn't like a 12-year-old do that? Like, honestly, what are they, like 60 pounds, 70 pounds? Maybe 80. They're not very big. I mean, I love them. They're cute. Yeah. I just don't see the exact difficulty in that single act of heroism. Excuse me if that's out of line. He walks over, slow and steady, and goes, "Sir, your wife ate the entire plate. You insulted a woman who cooks with love and gives out free soup to people who can't afford lunch. Now you're trying to intimidate them?" The husband mumbled something macho, and Carlos didn't flinch. He leaned in a little and said, "Either you pay for the food, apologize, and leave, or I call the police, unless you want to solve this in an old school way." Guess what? They paid. And not just the bill, because Carlos made sure they left a tip too. And then Carlos looked at me and said, add a bottle of water to their bill. She clearly needed something to wash down all that bullshit. Mic drop. Thank you, Carlos. That one might have been fake, but I liked it. I don't know why, honestly. I think the golden retriever comment got me. This one is from AITAH. Am I the asshole? I am in a very weird situation. So I, 25 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 25F, 25 female, well, X now, for a year. She would stay at my apartment 2 or 3 nights a week, and sometimes I'd stay at her apartment on a weekend. But we had agreed we liked to have some nights at our own places to ourselves, or so I thought. A few weeks ago, on one of my alone nights, I thought I heard a noise in the bedroom closet at night. For whatever reason, I just ignored it. A few days later, I hear something again. I thought, shit, are there mice or a rat or something? I hate rodents. So I kind of convinced myself it was a pipe or some bullshit instead and just ignored it again. Well, earlier this week, I heard a noise in the closet again. It was like 2 a.m. This one sounded a little louder and was suspicious. I was weirded out and a little scared. I convinced myself this fear was irrational and in my head, but I turned on my phone flashlight and shone it towards the closet. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I felt a panic in my chest like I have never felt before. The closet door was only just slightly ajar, and I could see a person's eyes staring out of it. I screamed, like, loud. I literally thought I was having a nightmare, and this was like a lucid dream or some shit. I couldn't believe it. Then the door of the closet opened. I screamed even louder, and I picked up a glass thinking to use it as a weapon. Then I saw my girlfriend come out of the closet crying and apologizing. I could hardly comprehend what was going on. She'd left hours ago. My heart was thudding along, and it took me a bit to calm myself and figure out what the hell was going on. I thought for a few seconds that I was actually dreaming, but no, it was real. My girlfriend was crying and apologizing over and over. I asked her what the hell was happening. She told me that she just liked to watch me sleep. I was like, what? She said she loved to watch me sleep, and it was an addiction, and she did it to feel closer to me. I was still in a state, so I kept kind of just saying, what? Over and over again. Finally, she convinced me to sit down, and after apologizing again, she told me that on nights when we weren't together, she would sneak into my closet and watch me sleep. This is outrageous. Apparently, she has been doing this for months. I have a routine. I'm a night showerer, and she knew generally what time I shower. She has a key to place. Sorry, I'm assuming there's supposed to be a my in there, but she would come by around that time, listen at the door for the shower, quietly come in, and rush into the closet. She knew I'd not go into the closet at night because I'd just put my robe on after my shower, so she'd just stay in the closet and watch me all night. And then in the morning, when I hit the bathroom, she would sneak out again. Damn, does she get any sleep? Ever? This chick's on like Pervitin or something. I was horrified by this. All those times I thought I'd been alone in my room, sleeping or doing whatever, there was a person in my closet watching me. I broke up with her on the spot. She reacted very dramatically. Basically, imagine how unhinged someone has to be to hide in a closet to watch someone sleep, what they'd act like if someone broke up with them. Well, it was like that. Extremely dramatic yelling, all kinds of nonsense, but she finally left. I changed my lock, obviously. I can still hardly believe this happened. I'm still creeped out by this, but one of our mutual friends told me that I overreacted. What? Now I'm saying what? That what she did out of love, and that I should forgive her and get her help. He thinks she just needs a little therapy, and why I would throw out a relationship over this. Said I might laugh about it one day. Holy fuck. Bad friend, dumb friend, that's what. It got me thinking. We did have a lot of good times together, and she seemed so normal until the incident. So I almost wonder, did I overreact? Then I think, no, that's fucking crazy. This person hid in my closet to watch me sleep. But I don't know. I'm all fucked up, so I'm turning to Reddit. Hell no, you didn't overreact. That is crazy. That is crazy. Trust your gut. That was the title of the last episode, I believe. Trust your gut. Just listen to that little imaginary organ that lives in your belly that tells you what's okay and what's weird and creepy and fucked up. You know, just listen to that shit. It might save your life one day. Anyways, that was 30 minutes. That's all for today, folks. I hope you have a happy hump day. I hope you tell your mother you love her. I hope you give your fathers hugs. I hope you send some sort of love to your friends, your family. Go outside, ride a skateboard, make some art, jam on a guitar, eat some good food, maybe a little eggs Benny, take yourself out to dinner. Who gives a fuck if you're by yourself? Whatever you do, stay cool.